Did you know that there are an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants currently residing in the United States? My purpose is to persuade you that undocumented immigrants in the U.S. should be granted amnesty. Although I'm not an expert on immigration, I have spent a great deal of time examining different viewpoints and issues surrounding amnesty in the U.S. I hold a degree at the University of Washington in political science and economics. Immigration issues are again a hot topic in politics. They have major economic effects, and many of us are directly impacted. I understand that many of you have already had a strong opinion one way or another on U.S. immigration. Your family history will no doubt greatly impact your perspective. Your political leanings may impact your perspective as well. I consider myself conservative, and when presented with the topic of amnesty for the first time, I initially opposed it. But after understanding it more in depth, I changed my perspective. I believe that after hearing what I have to say about this topic, you will agree that action must be taken to provide a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. With that in mind, I will begin by discussing the problem, examine some of its causes, and conclude by offering a solution. With our agenda in place, let's begin with the problem. Despite the fact that the U.S. government had agreed on the need for immigration for decades, there is still not a system in place for undocumented immigrants to earn citizenship. For example, there has been no major reform of immigration despite years of government proposals. The last major reform took place in '86 with the Immigration Reform and Control Act. Even this reform was not successful in addressing the issues, given that an estimated 12 million undocumented workers came across the border into the United States in the years following. During this time, it was uniformly agreed by the governments of the United States and Mexico that immigration reform was essential, but it was put on hold after 9/11. In 2005, the House passed an Immigration Control Act, and in 2006, the U.S. Senate passed another, but neither became law. Additionally, there is still not a system for amnesty in place despite numerous more recent proposals. In 2009, the Obama administration outlined a plan which included amnesty. 5 years later, the Gang of Eight pronounced their principles, which include a citizenship path for illegal immigrants already in the U.S. With the bipartisan cooperation and the support of many varied interest groups, this was approved by the Senate and sent to the House as Border Security, Economic Opportunity, and Immigration Modernization Act of 2013. But it was not brought to the floor for debate or put up for a vote. What this all means is that despite some progress, there is still no meaningful action. With this problem in mind, let's examine some of its causes. There are two reasons why lawmakers have reported having such a difficult time making progress towards creating a pathway to citizenship. The first reason for a lack of progress of amnesty is that lawmakers have been concerned that passing immigration reform might hurt their chances in primaries. This fear is unfounded. In response to some of these fears presented to him by his party, McCain, one of the Gang of Eight, stated, "Most Americans now realize that we can't have 11 million people sitting in the twilight in the shadows of America forever." The second reason for lack of progress on amnesty is that many lawmakers have prioritized other things. In the summer of 2009, Obama responded to the question with, "I've got a lot on my plate." And it's very important to use the sequence of these big initiatives in a way that they don't just all crash at the same time. Even though lawmakers do have a lot of bills that they want to pass and become law, amnesty must be a priority. And it has a very long history of inaction, and our country's economy, families, and communities will all be positively affected by it. Now that we've gained an understanding of the problem and some of the causes, let's turn to our solution. My solution is for the House to pass the current Immigration Modernization Act. Has two major benefits. First is the economy. Citizens have legal protections that raise their wages and taxes that they pay, and also help them to create more jobs for others. Robert Luncey and Patrick Oakford found in their 2013 article published by the Center of American Progress that the most likely estimate of the full effect of gaining legal status and citizenship to unauthorized immigrants is an income gain of about 25.1%. An amnesty program encourages more education and training of immigrants, which stimulates the education sector and creates more jobs. This education and training allows immigrants to find higher paying jobs that match their skills, be able to start their own business, and create more jobs for their U.S. citizens. Furthermore, after more undocumented citizens access the pathway to citizenship, they will be more connected to the U.S. and will begin putting down deeper roots, spending more of their higher earnings in the USA. A study by AmericanProgress.org demonstrates that immigrants are not just workers, they're also consumers and taxpayers. They will spend their increased earnings on the purchase of food, clothing, housing, cars, computers. That spending in turn will stimulate demand in the economy for more products and services, which create jobs and expand the economy. These statements describe a cycle of economic progress that all Americans would benefit from. The data presented on this graph summarize the estimates from the 2013 Congressional Budget S.744 Border Security, Economic Opportunity, and Immigration Modernization Act. I have calculated their estimates based on the projected economic effects of amnesty from 2019 to 2023. Here you can see that the federal revenues greatly outweigh the costs. The estimated costs include increased border security, employment verification, startup costs, and social services such as Medicare. The revenues account for an increase in taxes collected and other positive benefits to the economy, such as job creation. The net savings to the federal deficit would be $141 billion. The second benefit in passing this bill will assist in creating forward progress for our government and the American people of different political leanings. Although many of you may not realize that our divisive political environment, a reform to the immigration policy, creating a pathway to citizenship, is one thing that the Republican and Democratic Party have been able to agree on. The 2013 bill passed in the Senate with a 68-32 vote, and is still waiting in the House to be passed. The Trump administration could use this bipartisan bill to make real progress towards his central message of President Trump's election night. Now is the time for America to bind the wounds of division, come together as one united people. Many aspects of the 2013 bill are very much in line with the stated values of the Trump administration. During his candidacy, Trump called for new immigration controls and jobs for American workers. This bill provides both of these by setting up an employment verification system to prevent the hiring of undocumented workers and requiring employers hire American workers first. The Trump administration has an opportunity to address concerns about dangers that undocumented immigrants pose to the safety of the economy of our nation with a solution that is sitting on the floor. The bill requires those without legal status to have background checks, pay back taxes, learn the English language and American civics to become more integrated into the United States society before even starting the pathway towards citizenship. In conclusion, providing a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants will stimulate our economy, bring our country together. Let's review what we learned today. First, we learned that despite the fact that the U.S. government had agreed on a need for immigration reform for decades, there was still not a system in place for undocumented immigrants to earn citizenship. Key ideas. As proof, we know that no reform has taken place since the unsuccessful Immigration and Control Act in 1986, despite attempts in 2001, 05, 06, 09, and 2013. Next, we outline two reasons why lawmakers have had such a difficult time making progress on immigration reform. Key ideas which were concerned for their own electability because they had prioritized other reforms. Finally, we learned that the passing of the current Immigration Modernization Act had two major benefits, which were a decrease in the federal deficit and an increase in cooperation between both parties. The truth is clear. Something must be done to address the situation of the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in our country. No matter our political affiliation or family history, we know that providing amnesty is one achievable and economically beneficial pathway to citizenship and is the right thing to do. It may take some initial investment and reframing of perspectives, but the benefits are bountiful not only for our economy, but for our faith in our political system and our belief that we can together, despite some differences, in a way that is beneficial for all. I hope that you will further investigate the issues surrounding amnesty with an open mind and a respect for our country's immigrant history.